Presiding Officer, it's a very great pleasure to be speaking on this subject. When I came to this Parliament in 2001, I spoke in my first contribution on fishing, a vital interest for my constituents. So it's a very great pleasure, as today I reach my 400th contribution, to be speaking on something that is of equal importance. Thank you for that kind applause. It is richly deserved for those who have had to listen to the 400 speeches. But very seriously, in the election address that I distributed in 2001 for my first election to this place, featured in the middle of that newsletter was the fair fuel price campaign. It was an issue then, and it remains for rural constituencies like mine an issue today. In 1997, the price of a litre of petrol was some 61 pence. Alison McInnes referred to the price of diesel in Banff, while the price of petrol in Banff, I understand today, is 134.9 pence per litre. When I had my first car, I could fill up the tank, take the 4 people in the car for a fish supper and go to the cinema and get change from £1. So the world has changed. But what hasn't changed, Presiding Officer, is the Labour Party's inability to engage on this subject. When we debated this in April last year, we were able, on the parties over here, to coalesce around a shared belief that we had to take some action. The Labour Party, the 36 of them who turned up to vote, that is, 10 were missing, were on the wrong side of the argument then, and the indications are they will be on the wrong side of the argument today. I'll take one later, Charlie. You did say in that debate that you remembered lager being half a crown a pint, so I know that you're of a similar age to myself. There are staggering increases in the cost of fuel that are affecting everybody, and not simply motorists. It isn't simply about motorists, because if businesses face higher fuel costs, these costs are in turn passed on to consumers, and we all pay more for the things we buy. In the case for a fuel duty regulator to halt the constant fuel price increases people face has never been more urgent. Now, the Labour Party, in their amendment, I don't intrinsically have a difficulty with the idea of reversing recent VAT increase on fuel, but my fundamental difficulty is that that's a one-time hit that gives some relief. But what the Labour Party delete from the motion is something that sets a long-term and permanent solution to smooth out the price of fuel. Because the one thing that really affects business and individuals is erratic changes in prices. And a study of the graph that the House of Commons have provided in their research shows that the erratic nature of pricing has become fundamentally more great.
Patrick Harvey.
I'm grateful to the member. He describes this as a permanent solution to the problem of volatility. Surely he can accept it is not a permanent solution to rising fuel prices, which are not being driven by taxation at present.
Mr. Stevenson.
I absolutely accept that if the intrinsic price of the underlying raw material is going to change over a long period of time, and I think we all accept that it is, then you can't beat the system. But what you absolutely have to do is to give business the certainty of understanding what their costs are going to be, to give rural constituents such as I have, I'm coming to you in a minute, the opportunity to understand the budgeting and to give them some relief in the meantime. Mr. Gordon.
Charlie Gordon.
As an aside, can I say I yearn for the days when I was younger and better looking than the Transport Minister. Can I make clear about the regulator that I've explained that the government's own advisory body is saying it wouldn't work? Can I say that I've made clear that we're being practical? Cutting back the VAT on fuel is a practical measure that can be taken within this month. And can I make clear also that the debate a year ago, if you check the official report, you see that I left the door open, as I did tonight, on the concept of some kind of limited derogation in very remote rural parts of Scotland.
Mr. Stevenson.
Well, Presiding Officer, if the door is capable of being opened, the three parties who are on the different side of the argument tonight are handing the Labour Party the key. Take it, turn the key, go through that door. Because a fuel duty regulator is a process by which we can give certainty, we can use the huge sums, the additional £1 billion from tax, higher than anticipated that the Treasury has, to fund relief for people in rural areas who simply don't have alternative means of transport, who have to use their car to go to work, to go to the shops, to undertake social, educational and medical journeys. Very important that we focus on that. And of course, very much welcome the fact that there appears to be something coming for our island communities, but many mainland communities are equally remote and equally impacted by this. But having a regulator is a way in which we can control price, and I hope that members will coalesce behind the government's motion tonight and unite in sending a message to Westminster and the government there.